then you create a completely different reality. But as long as you think the universe is doing something to you, as long as you believe the sun, creates solar flares, that we're starting to see a relationship, that it creates weather patterns and earthquakes and earth changes, when you see that the outside forces are doing something to you, you think you're out of control. But if you take it from the perspective of that all starts from self, and we are a oneness, what our oneness is putting out into the universe is coming back at us like friggin' karma. So while we're making these new discoveries that the sun has some kind of relationship on how we experience our reality, it's more what we're doing to the sun that's just coming back at us like karma. It's mastering the controls. It's seeing how you are creating your reality. The concept too of holographics is that we all hold a piece of the puzzle. For you to think you have the answers to all is kind of insane thinking, because only when the collective joins as one do we know all. We can't create heaven until every single person on this planet is experiencing their version of world peace. As long as it's just one that we're going to look after, making sure that they are getting their world peace, you will not be considering the wholeness of ourselves. So it's like every one of us inside of us do have all of the answers, but it's fragmented in fractals. We all hold a piece, like I know who I am, but I'm only a piece of a larger picture. When I see myself as just self that has no relationship to the whole, I'm just a piece of a puzzle that makes no sense whatsoever. I only make sense when the whole knows everything. And we all have the potential to know it all, to know each other. We all know our oneness, but it's like our rules, our left brain thinking, our belief systems are keeping us separated. But when we lose all of those belief systems, when we crash and burn, and we see that you mean nothing unless you're part of the whole, that's when you have this all-knowing. But every single person on the planet has to realize that you're just one piece of the puzzle. The information you provide only is one piece of the puzzle. When we form together and create that puzzle, then we get that all-knowing. But 100th monkey concept will introduce how we can get this all-knowing all at once, is when there's a majority of people just realize themselves, and then all of a sudden everybody will know themselves and will form that oneness. But it has to be the majority, like a larger majority, the 100th monkey concept. Enough people need to know this. And once enough people know this, enough people have these intentions within self, and enough people know and master their own full potential, then it's unfolded, and nobody will know what happened, because it is holographic. When we all just sort of awaken to our conscious selves, know what the big game is, know what the picture is, it is like cyborgs, like as soon as one gets the information, the whole gets the information. 100th monkey concept really understands how it's possible to create world peace practically instantly. It's just enough people need to get rid of their belief system. Enough people need to go within self for solutions, and then we form that oneness. But you have to form the oneness to get it.
traditionally associate the notion of an arrow of time with the sequence of events that we experience through the arrangement of short-term and long-term memories. We can only have memories about the past, and not about the future, and we've always assumed that this reflects the flow of time. Scientists only began to question this logic when discoveries in quantum mechanics demonstrated that some phenomena are not bound by our notion of time, and that our concept of it is nothing more than our perception of the change in observable values. This is also reflected in time dilation and length contraction, which are part of the reason why Einstein established that time and space are the same fabric. In an absolute sense, the notion of time does not differ from the notion of distance. Seconds are equal to light seconds, but cancel each other out. To clarify, with distance and time being each other's opposites, the passing of time can be interpreted as the distance that the hands of a clock travel as they move in a direction that is opposite to time. As they move forward in distance, they effectively travel backwards in what we would call time. This is also why any single separate minimum unit of experience is always instantly annihilated within a timeless now. This understanding sets the record straight between wave function collapse and quantum decoherence.
The distance of time, you only have memories of the past and not the future, and that's not necessarily true. Your past is how you create the future. All of your rules and your rules were created by your past. That's how you visualize your future. But if you can jump into something completely different, you actually create a different future for yourself. But we don't know how to jump out of something completely different. And I've had these really, really wild experiences of these creations. Like this time where this airbrush that I was working on that I needed to get a job with, and I worked on this first painting, and as soon as this first painting was done and I seen how amazing it was, the airbrush broke. And I no longer had a tool that I could move forward in my future that I was seeing for myself. Now, in that moment of now, all of my past history says, damn, this is a bitch, every time I try and do something, nothing works out. All of the negative programming just came into play. But for some odd reason, and I really do think it's a connection with God that just wanted me to have this experience, right away, instantly, it was like, God wouldn't show me I had that talent and then just take the tools away from me. God's mailing me an airbrush. And then what happened is the universe was rejecting me. Everybody in my dynamics would say, that's impossible. So it's like as soon as you come up with something completely different, the matrix that holds your reality together will go against you. But for some reason, I was just stuck in my own reality, and it was like the more people rejected me, the more I had strength in myself. So the more people said, oh, that's impossible, God's not mailing you an airbrush. I even had Mormons come to my house and ask me, what's my connection with God? And it was like, well, God's mailing me this airbrush. I had so much fun in this creation that I was doing that my response was, well, that's your connection with God. My connection is he's mailing me an airbrush. 2 weeks later, the airbrush showed up. So it was my moment of now, every freaking minute of the day, that was pushing out this energy wave that was controlling matter. Even though you don't see it, it was happening. And the more I got excited, the more I was loving it, the more I believed in it, the more I went up against the challenge of rejecting this new idea, the stronger I felt. So it was, it's like you have to believe in yourself so damn much, and going against the matrix and letting it be okay that the matrix that holds your reality together, if they are rejecting, it's like, if you can be at one with self and believe in self and gain strength and power from that rejection, the more you end up moving matter. And as it turns out, the one airbrush we ended up returning 2 really cheap Walmart airbrushes for a professional one that my husband ended up using, who's now my ex-husband, but he was using it at work where he was earning some money, extra money doing paintings, and magically there was too much dust for this airbrush to work, so he mailed it back home. So I was creating the dust particles to fill up his airbrush so it wouldn't work. So he would get the idea to just mail it back home. We move matter more than we think we move matter, but when you put your concept of the future out there, based on something that's nothing from your past, there was nothing in my reality that said this is going to work, but I believed it anyways. I was having a memory of the future that I wanted to have, that the universe was completely not in support of, that ended up showing me how that karmically showed up. So you can create a future. You just have to have a vision of the future. Get rid of all your past memories, your belief systems, and just live in a magical world. If we lived in a magical world of creation, that's how you jump out of. But it's, be aware of what it is you're asking for, because sometimes what you're asking for may be just a repeat of the past. This was something completely different. Nobody on the universe has ever done that, to my knowledge, to just live in a magical world of creation, which gave me an experience. And then I started studying, okay, why did that work? So then I found all of the sciences that actually prove how all of that works. And I'm seeing it happen all the time. What I'm working on now is global change. And that is a really, really hard thing to announce out into the world, especially while on a welfare system where the universe says you're crazy, you're the cause of all social problems. I crashed and burned and lost belief in self. So my healing involved, I got to believe in myself more. I just have to learn how to communicate a little better. I have to heal myself. I can't make any changes in the world unless I change myself. And share my process through example. When I listen more to myself, my full potential, that dual aspect of who I am, that leads me to the perfect path all the time, all the time. That's why I know, without a doubt, the world is going to shift. And the more people will disagree with me, and I can feel confident in myself that this is going to happen no matter what, the more it's going to get created. You can't beat this. The world is shifting. How do I know? Because it's inside me. I'm shifting my world. The more I believe in my world shifting, the more it will just holographically be influenced into the rest of the world. So change yourself. Live in a magical world, because you can create magic. There is a lot of science that proves it. It's just, what is it that you want to create? And from my perspective of the world shift is, okay, what is the common agreement so that whatever it is I wish for won't do harm to anybody else? What would that be? And what my base rule, my guide is for everybody to experience their version of world peace, that they have their version of world peace.